Next up in our battleship portion of the Hearts of Iron 4 United States Historical Design Series are the South Dakota class battleships. The South Dakota class consisted of 4 battleships: the South Dakota, the Indiana, the Massachusetts, and the Alabama. Work on the South Dakotas began in 1939, 2 years after the North Carolinas. The South Dakota and the Indiana were initially ordered to fill in as twin fast battleships alongside the North Carolina class. As tensions increased in Europe and Asia, the U.S. Navy ordered 2 more South Dakotas, the Massachusetts and the Alabama. While construction on the South Dakotas began in 1939, I have utilized a 1940 hull for this class. The South Dakotas fixed a variety of problems within the North Carolina class battleships, and so this change represents those fixes. The South Dakotas also had 130,000 shaft horsepower engines, which the Level 2 GE 121,000 shaft horsepower engines are closest to. The class had a belt size of 12.2 inches and deck armor of 5.75 to 6.05 inches. Because of this, I have simplified the class's in-game armor to Level 2 battleship armor. I decided that while the belt armor for Battlecruiser Level 3 is perhaps more fitting numerically, it would go against the spirit of the South Dakota class, which was a fast battleship, not a battlecruiser. The South Dakotas were built within the 35,000-ton London Naval Treaty requirements, despite being ordered after the escalator clause. As such, the South Dakotas had the same main guns as the North Carolinas, 9 16-inch or 45 caliber Mark VI guns, or 3 Level 3 heavy batteries. The South Dakotas had secondary batteries of 16 5-inch 38 caliber Mark 12 dual-purpose guns. This manifests through 1 Level 3 dual-purpose secondary gun module. The battleships also have an AA complement of 8 50 cal, 28 1.1-inch, and 16 20mm Oerlikon guns. As such, the South Dakotas have 1 Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3 AA module each. You can choose to update the 50 caliber AA guns to 40mm AA guns, as was historically done in September 1942, just 6 months after the South Dakota itself was commissioned, or to 2 Level 4 and 1 Level 3 AA gun, as was done in February of 1943. The South Dakotas were fitted with Mark 37 fire directors and Mark III, later Mark 8, fire control radar. I provided the South Dakotas with Level 2 fire directors. The South Dakotas were one of the first capital ships with stable vertical firing capabilities, which is provided by the Level 2 Mark 37 directors. I also gave the South Dakotas Mark III SC radar, or Level 3 radar, although you may update this to Level 4 as the class was fitted with Mark 8 in 1942. Lastly, the South Dakotas were equipped with an aircraft catapult, typically carrying 2 OS-2U Kingfisher float planes. The South Dakota class was built by a variety of different designers. The South Dakota itself was built by the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard, hence the designer. The 2 middle ships in the class, the Indiana and the Massachusetts, were built by Newport News Shipbuilding and Fore River Shipyard respectively, and do not benefit from a designer. The Alabama, the last of the class, was built by Norfolk Naval Shipyard, benefiting from the corresponding designer. The South Dakota class saw wide use throughout the globe during World War II. The battleships South Dakota and Indiana primarily sortied in the Pacific, participating as aircraft carrier escorts. The Massachusetts first fought along the West African coast during Operation Torch, before transferring to the Pacific, where both it and the battleship Alabama participated in the Battle of Leyte Gulf. The Alabama also had a stint escorting Soviet Union-bound convoys in the North Atlantic during the war. I hope you enjoyed this template design video as well as the short history lesson. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, or if you think that my design could be improved. All the best.